What's going on, peoples? I'm out here working on a 2013 Dodge Journey SE, the 2.4 cylinder. As you see, I'm doing valve cover gaskets. Pretty straightforward. I'd have to show exactly what I did because I already started taking it apart by the time I realized I should have made a video of this. But yeah, it's only very selective few videos out there that show, so I figure I would add to the roster on YouTube. I haven't actually touched anything in here. This is what it looks like when you take the valve cover off the top of the engine. It's pretty straightforward and simple. There's only two vacuum hoses you take off. This one coming from the throttle body down the bottom. This comes out, this little rubber tube right here, off the top of the valve cover, which is this right here, the PCV valve. You take that boot off. I just took it off of this end to give me more clearance to pull the valve cover out, because you see this kind of sticks past where the valve cover sits, so I'm able to have a little bit more room to pull it out without that boot being in the way. And then also the vacuum line coming out of the air box. This one goes into the side of the valve cover right here, breather tube for the air box. And then there's just a couple wires that has like these little plastic clips that stick to the side of the sorry, not the side, to the bolts. They have like longer threads on the bolts. I'll show you one. This is I believe this is one of the knock sensors on the back side of the motor right here. I just unplugged it so I get the wire out the way, because it sits really tight up against the side of the valve cover right here. As you see, it gets routed around the side of this and gets plugged in back there. This is actually the bolt that plastic clip I was telling you guys about. It sticks down on top of the stem, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is one of them. It's like a stud that screws down. When it screws down, it sits out the top of the valve cover like that, and that plastic clip sits on top of this, just like that. It goes in there and it clips on. You'll hear it like zip ties. It clips in like that, but it goes further down. I just don't want to push it all the way in, because then it'll be a little hard trying to pry it out with one hand. But I just figure I'd give you guys an idea of how it works. So this is one right here. There's another one over here somewhere, right here on this main harness. This one right here, this sits on this corner. As you see, you pull that off. You can twist this. Well, on this one you can twist it. It's just zip tied onto the harness, I guess, just to hold it still. And then there's one more, I believe, two actually. So this one right here, just like how that one is for the knock sensor wire, this one goes, these two go onto the same stud. This one back here in the corner, the very back corner. This comes off first, and then this one sits all the way down at the bottom where the screw is, and then you pop that. This just comes off too. And this isn't really able to spin. This one is. You pop those off, and that's pretty much it. You take all the screws out. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bolts altogether. Oh, sorry. 15. There's ones in the center where the coil packs are too. 16, 17, and 18. There are 18 bolts altogether. And the only thing left is the bolts that hold the coil packs to the top of the valve cover. Once you take those bolts out, you don't even have to pull the coil packs out. I pulled everything out. I didn't have to remove the screws, because the screws have these O-rings that sit around the very edge of them that are like pressed into the valve cover. Now they can come out, as you see. A few of them popped out. I guess the O-rings are a little worn out, but I don't even know if you can replace those or not. But I know the gasket comes with those built into the gasket, so it sits into these grooves, so you won't have to worry about, they're not actually sealing anything. I just believe they're just to hold the screws into the valve cover like this, so that way you won't have to actually take the screws out. All these screws are being held in by those rubber O-rings. So that's what I think the purpose of them are. Like I said, you don't have to take the screws all the way out. They'll be held in by those O-rings. Some of them may come out, like mine. 3 of them came out, but the rest of them are held in by those O-rings. So That's if you want to do it that way. If you want to take them out, be my guest. But that's just less work for me. Have to worry about keeping up with all the screws and all that extra work. That's just unnecessary. Like I said, the coil packs, they can stay inside of the valve cover when you're pulling it out of the engine bay. I kept everything in there when I pulled it out, and I actually set it down. Then I pulled the coil packs out one by one so I can keep track of where they go, where the screws go and everything. Once you do that, it's pretty much plain and simple from there. Pulling the gasket off and putting the new one on. They're not pressed in, but they're like grooves that kind of hold the gasket into where the circles or where the holes are for the screw holes. They're like pressed, not pressed, but they fit into those grooves, so it's like holding it in place. So you do got to kind of pull them out. Plus, if the gasket's really old, they're probably a little brittle and they're probably hard to pull out. So other than that, like I said, it's straightforward. And that's pretty much it. These were the gaskets that came out the center from where the coil packs were, and it's the same ordeal. But those are separate from the actual valve cover gasket. And that's it. Clean it up, put the new gaskets on, and reverse the process. But I'll show what it looks like when I put the new gasket on, and before I put it back in the car, I'll show you guys what it looks like then. So be right back. Back again. I'll show you the valve cover in a second, but I wanted to show you why I am replacing, which I'm pretty sure you already know why, but I got to clean up the top of this engine. I didn't want to clean it up just yet till I showed you guys. So this is what's going on back here. All that oil's leaking down on the manifold and going down the back side of the engine. You can see it's all caked up right there on the exhaust manifold. You can see it down there on the block in between the manifold and the head. Luckily, that's just the heat shield, so it's probably not directly burning it. That's probably why it's still soaked in oil. It'll probably be burning it off if it was directly on the manifold itself. But yeah, this is why we're replacing it. You can see it's all soaked back here. It's soaked on the sides. Right there, it's all on the sensor. It's going down the side. It's in the front side too. This is where the injectors are going in. You can see it's going around the front side of it as well. You can see it's all down in there. And it's just a mess. So I'm gonna clean up. Look, it's going down this side too. It's really bad over here. All over this side. So this is why. You see it's all soaked right there. Yeah, it's bad. It's even spraying all over the AC lines and everything, and it's all over the knock sensor right here. Yeah, so this was really bad. Sorry, that wasn't the AC line. This is the power steering line. But yeah, you can see why I'm actually replacing this. So now I can show you the gaskets now that I'm done. These were the old ones. These are the new ones. These are Felpro, as you see. That's the part number for it. VS5068R. I'm not exactly sure the years that it's exactly the same, but this also fits for Chrysler. Chrysler's Dodge. Dodge is Chrysler. All of the 2.4s, the 2.0s, and the 1.8s all use this same valve cover gasket with these coil pack gaskets as well. It comes as a kit, so that's the part number that I had for my 2013. So if anybody's looking for them, that's the part number for it. It's only $27 after taxes. I mean 27 because it's $26.99 plus taxes. It's like $28 and some change. Not that expensive. It's just the work that you have to put in if you're mechanically inclined. If not, then you're probably going to get charged maybe $600-700 maybe, depending on the shop you go to. Maybe more, maybe less, give or take. It's not a hard job as long as you got some simple tools and just mechanically inclined in some way. You don't have a problem putting things back together. I showed you in the beginning, it's not much that needs to get taken care of or done. So, but these are the new ones. I don't know why the coil gaskets, the coil pack gaskets are a different color than the actual gasket that goes around the valve cover, but that's just the way it came in the kit. So The screws actually press into the gasket, like I was telling you in the beginning of the video. They just slide right into the, you push them through and it'll go through the gasket. It's not hard. If you do have some RTV, they say put some inside, either on the gasket right here, or when you're done cleaning up the top of the valve cover, the top of the head, you can put it directly on where this is, because that's where that piece meets. This is basically from where the timing cover and the top of the head meet. As you see, it was already old silicone there already. I have to clean that up so that I can put some new silicone there, and that's where the valve cover will be sealing the cover that meets the top of the head. So that's all that really is. So if you have some RTV, should be good. I would say they recommend it. It's technically not really needed. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. But just to be safe, myself, I'm gonna go ahead and put some there. That's usually what a lot of mechanics do typically when they put valve covers on. If that is something that's the case where the timing cover meets with the valve cover and separates the head from the timing cover, or whatever situation, because this isn't the only engine that does that. There are multiple other engines that do this. Same with like intake manifolds on like a lot of the older engines where the heads meet the top of the block. They would put some silicone right in between where the head meets the top of the block, and that's kind of where it'll typically leak from, because there's not a gap, but there's a separation between the material, and that's where the oil likes to get in between and leak through. So just to be extra precautious, you put some silicone, some RTV, not silicone, sorry, RTV or gasket maker, something that's made for this. I personally like Right Stuff or 90 gasket maker, 1 minute gasket, Right Stuff. This is some great stuff. I've used this stuff on a lot of things. People may say it's not good, or they may disagree. Well, I'm not those people, and I'm not going to steer you wrong. This stuff has worked great for me on multiple occasions, from engine parts to transmission parts to diff covers, transfer cases, like I said, all kinds of different things, and I have not had one issue with this stuff. There's another one that they have, like I said, this is the 90-minute stuff. This is a gasket maker. This is like the younger brother to this, but that's just some extra stuff I had. After I started using this stuff, I really don't even use that anymore. This is literally, when they say 1 minute, not really, but it literally only takes a few minutes for it to settle and get tacky, and for it to actually, stop leaks or prevent anything from leaking, and it works great. That's one thing. It's a little pricey on the cans. They have different sizes from like $15 all the way up to like $60. It's worth it, but that's if you want to go that route. So that's when I'm gonna get started with putting that valve cover back on top of there once I clean this up. So I'll be right back. All right, people, back again, just to show you that I cleaned up the surface of where the valve cover meets the top of the head. And you definitely want this to be as clean as possible. You don't want no dirt, debris, or any oil. You want that gasket to seal really good. Like I said, I still got to put the RTV in between where the timing cover and the head meets, but I just wanted to show you guys. I even cleaned up the top of the manifold. That's really like burnt on there, unless I use some sandpaper. That was really hard to get up, but I got up most of the other oil leaks. As you see, if you go back to earlier in the video, I showed there was all kinds of oil leaking straight down the center of the manifold, all filled up in here, leaking down. Even on this one, it's even a little bit of residue, but that was as much as I could get off. Also clean the center of the coil pack holes out as well, because that's where the gaskets meet for those, and you're good to go. So next time I show it, I can try to show me putting it back on so you guys can get a snippet of what it looks like. Like I I said, all of my bolts are already inside of the valve cover, so I don't have to worry about trying to figure out what bolt goes where or how it's placed. And just carefully got it back in, and it's just like that. There's nothing in the way. Like I said, I got all my wires out the way, so there's nothing preventing it from sitting down on top of the head. And get your socket that you use to put it on, or take it off, sorry, and just begin to tighten the bolts. Don't tighten it all the way down, because you want to get you just want to get them started. I got to look up the specs on how to tighten these down, because there is a specific sequence on how these things get tightened down. I just want to make sure I'm doing it properly and I'm not doing it the wrong way, because there is a sequence to almost every valve cover and almost every intake manifold on how to tighten these things down properly. So I just want to make sure I'm putting them on the right way. Like I said, I'm not tightening them down, so I don't have to do the sequence just yet. I just want to get them started. Don't even get them hand tight, just get them started, because even you getting them hand tight can prevent the gasket not to seal properly and they may leak. So just get them started to where you feel it starting to have some type of resistance, and then do the sequence as far as how tight they're supposed to go and what bolt to cross over to, because I'm pretty sure there's a certain pattern, a certain sequence they're supposed to get tightened down. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. I have a bad habit of doing that. Just making sure you guys understand what I'm trying to explain here. So that's pretty much all I'm doing right now. It's just getting them started, so that way I won't cross thread them when I do start to tighten them down with my tool, with my wrench, or my ratchet, sorry. I don't even think you can get a wrench on these bolts because of how they sit in the valve cover. There's like a kind of like a groove or a tunnel where the socket's supposed to go down into, so you're able to tighten these bolts down. I believe that is all of my screws, and then I'm not going to show me actually tightening it down, but you guys get the point as far as what I'm doing here. And that's pretty much that. Pretty much just put everything else back together, put the hose back to connect the PCV valve to the line that goes to the throttle body. Put the line that goes back onto the air box breather tube back on to the valve cover. Put the clips back on that hold the wires to the side of the valve covers, and that's it. I'll be back with the rest of it to show you how it looks once I put it back together. All right, I'm back, and as you see, I am all finished. Hold on, let me see. I feel like my thing is too zoomed in a little bit. Oh no, that's as far back as it goes. Sorry, checking in my zoom, but I thought I was zoomed in too far. Everything's put back together, as clean as it can be. All the bolts are tightened down, torqued to sequence and specs. Everything is good to go. So this is what I was talking about. As you see, the clips to those plastic clips that clip down on the studs. This is one of them. This is the other one. The other one, this one had two. That black washer that it looks like under there, that's a clip that holds on there. It's two of them. You see that one, that sits to that, and then you just pull it up like you do that one. This is the other one that you can see over here on this side. They just literally pull up, they pop up. It's like a little clip on the inside of them that hold them down. And like I said, this is the vacuum line that comes from the throttle body, and then this one is the vacuum line that comes from the air box. This one doesn't have a clip. It doesn't have a clamp or anything that holds it on there, but this one's pretty worn out, so the hose is worn out, so it kind of fits on there loosely. So I just kind of did some junkyard type thing and zip tied it so it stays on and it doesn't leak if there is a leak in here somewhere. Granted, there isn't any liquids or anything coming out of here, there's just air, but if there's any oil being circulated through here, or the PCV valve goes bad, there'll actually be oil coming through here, and looks like it was at some point in time, but this will just keep it from leaking or having any kind of issues. I can cut that at any time. I'm the only one that works on this car, so I know what's going on with it. But yeah, everything's done. Everything's put back together. That's the RTV, that right stuff that I was telling you guys about, and it's only been about maybe 15 minutes, and it's already, you can see I'm pushing on it, and it's completely dry. Well, it's not completely dry, but it's mushy, but it's dry to touch, and it settles like literally, like I said, in like 1 to 2 minutes, and then it's dry enough to touch within a few minutes. And once I tightened everything down and everything, and I started recording a video, this is what it's like. Like I said, literally like 10-15 minutes after I put this down and then tightened down the valve cover, that's what it was like. That stuff's real good. So by the time they've done a few cycles on this engine, that'll definitely be done and dry by the end of the day. But yeah, it's not a hard job. After that, you can just put your cover back on and start her up. So actually, that's actually what I'm about to do now. I'll put the dipstick back in there because I just took it out just for precaution. I probably didn't even have to take this out because it's not even, well, I didn't want to break it off or anything with me in here. It sticks out right there, but that's pretty much it. So I'll start it up and see what it does. Check for leaks and stuff. Just make sure everything's good. I think this one actually shows you oil pressure, I believe. I think. No, it just tells you the oil temperature. It doesn't tell me the oil pressure. Well, obviously good because I'm not getting any low oil pressure signs on here anywhere. Check the leaks. We're looking good, man. We're looking real good. There's some spots that I missed that I didn't really get to clean. I just wanted to get the surface area of where the gasket actually seals from the valve cover to the top of the engine. But I can tell from the way it looks, there is no leaks as of right now. It was mainly leaking from back here. This was the biggest issue back here. That's where I was primarily looking. And it seems like it did, so I say this is a job well done, and that's how you change a valve cover on a 2.4 liter Chrysler engine. Like I said, I'm not sure the exact years, but I know this one is a 2013. I'm 80% to 90% sure that it's probably the same for other years too, because they fit multiple different size engines. Like I said, the 2.4, the 2.0, and the 1.8. That's pretty much that. So I hope this video helped you guys on changing out your valve cover gaskets on a 2.4 liter and other sizes. And have a good one.